How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Horace. As I was making my way out of here, this little familiar area right next to, or right before where that house was burning down and that family set up the tent, there's totally another little locked area here. I was able to unlock that. I don't think it has anything to do with the clearing the junk in the area. Maybe it has something to do with the total amount of junk I have cleared. This is a function of the game that I currently very much am not understanding. So again, if anyone could provide some clarity for me, it would be much appreciated. This area has its own junk. I guess every time you go through a door, you get a new area of junk. Oh, this didn't take me to that area that I had just accessed by going back through. It totally did. That is the exact same door that I went through from within the house. So I guess clearing all the junk in this area might have more to do with multiple access points. There's a bunch of junk at the bottom of the water there. It has more to do with multiple access points than it does with progress within the game. I definitely have to find a way to raise that gate in order to deal specifically with all that. No, don't rotate me. I gotta do a little miniature jump in order to thread my way through all this. Why is this glowing blue? Oh, maybe I specifically need the updated gloves or something. It's almost easier just to die and just get sent back to the start. Whatever your access point was, that's because you don't lose the junk. That kind of is the easiest way to get out of wherever it was that you were just doing your thing. I wanted to see if I could, like, visit the family, see what they're up to. It seems very dangerous for me to go out on the mainland, but or a boat
to the mainland.
But I gotta venture out. Just don't get a drop of water on you the entire time, man. Better hope it's low humidity today.
Everything was in pieces. Everything had been destroyed.
Jesus.
I docked the boat in some ruins. They must have once been a town.
The music's a little intense. I feel like I suddenly have entered a little bit of like a horror world. Oh god. But that was kind of incredible. But now I kind of want to go back because I definitely like skipped a bunch of stuff. That was kind of crazy. There's got to be a point somewhere in this game where you can do that for like some insane extended amount of time. I feel like I kind of need to try again immediately. Alright, I'm gonna jump off of this. Was that not the one? Was that not it? How did I do it? How did I cause myself to start flipping? Oh man, there's a bunch of broken Horaces or Robot 2.0s at the bottom of that water there to take out or to clean up. That's gonna take a lot of deaths to get rid of those junk. Is there more? It looks like it's all focused in this one little spot here, but I'm gonna do my best to try and clean these. Seems like this would be a 1-for-1 trade-off, that for every one I collect, I leave another one behind. Wait, is that actually what's happening here? Okay, there's 4 right now. I'm very clearly collecting one. And then there's 4 down there. Has this been a thing that I was unaware of previously? Is that I literally am creating junk? Junk in this area, 231. I roast myself on an electrical thing. It's gone. Alright, but what if I jump in the water over to the side here? Is that gonna leave a beautiful corpse? No. No, so for some very specific reason, these ones aren't like getting collected the way other things do. Alright, how did I thread this? So difficult. I'm gonna get so many death counters trying to mess around with this. It's difficult. It's hard to... Alright, I'll stop wasting time with that. It seemed like a funny little experiment. It was really exciting when it happened on accident, but now it doesn't seem worth the time I'm investing into it currently. Good thing you can save yourself like that when you kind of miss a jump a little bit, that it flips you over to the other side and saves you from a botched attempt. What's this little Horace box? Looks like it's full of Horace heads. Oh, can I not make it through? That seems definitely worth investigating, though. Maybe a little bit more of a hint at the fact that robots, or literally Horaces, became killbots and kind of put an end to things. Oh, I gotta jump from the side like this. So you can't jump the distance to make the flip happen there, but when you have the world at this 90 degrees, that's how you complete that jump. Alright, very like minor puzzle solving going on there, but still something that took me a minute to realize. I gotta keep a closer eye out for little warps. I gotta lower all this water to clean all that. Cleaning a million things is hard.
A lovable fat old dog.
Lovable and fat old dog. That's the description I want to hear. That tells me everything I need to know about this dog to know that I immediately want to give it a hug. You looked a little unsure. Oh shit.
Holding large guns, or at least two men and what looked to be a pregnant woman.
Oh god.
Incredibly, it was Mr. Stilton. I thought you'd been shut down, he said.
Is it the paramedic?
I'm not really sure what happened, I replied.
So what he did
I
the
then
finger
told
pull
him
with?
about me cleaning a million things. He laughed and said, nothing changes. He then showed
literally
me what was
nothing.
surprisingly a really nice house.
It is the paramedic. They totally had a vibe. I picked up on it.
Please
Fatty is
excuse my
his shirt.
husband, said the pregnant lady. I'm Edwina, but everyone calls me Eddie. I believe you know this idiot. And that's Preston. We've met, said the small man. It was me that delivered that thing, remember? All you used to deliver was weed, mumbled Mr. Stilton as he put the dog dish on the floor.
It was DPT Van Halen, I think is what it said. Is this dog's name Deputy Van Halen? Is that what DPT is? It's either that or like department. I don't really know. I don't really remember Preston, but I remember that I got delivered in a box, but like I don't think it drew any attention to that character.
And I was there that night, when this twat was off his face on mushrooms. Thanks for letting me and the dog stay, by the way. Yeah, well, we like the dog, said Mrs. Stilton.
Doesn't seem like they like
and
Preston.
I suppose I've got you to thank for
It's
us
not
meeting.
all bad.
What with you giving Barry those dodgy magic mushrooms? She pulled out an old photograph. It was one that Heather had taken the night I had saved Mr. Stilton.
Preston's not there, but like her paramedic partner's not there. Obviously we're missing like all these other characters. We'll find them all. If Stilton managed to survive this, then I have faith that characters like Heather and Deck would have as well.
It reminded me of everyone else, so I asked what had happened to them.
Are we gonna want to know?
Mr. Stilton said Alice had a small place in the countryside. The professor had holed up in one of the old man's factories. Mr. Deck was.
This poster was on the wall next to the Tinker Tailor Soldier's Pie one, and I was like, it's something about a celebrity, but I can't tell what it's a reference to or whatever. It wasn't really a reference. It's literally like a little in-game world thing that Mr. Deck has become a celebrity, like a TV personality.
Believe it or not, now a presenter on the only state television channel. And Heather and her mother lived on a government compound where they both worked.
It's brilliant,
I asked
Heather.
about the old man, surprised that Mr. Stilton hadn't mentioned
he doesn't
him.
understand. No.
He's dead, said Mr. Stilton. Sorry, I thought you knew.
That's more heartbreaking than when he actually died.
Anyway, said Mr. Preston,
Oh.
I thought you said that robot thing found the mushrooms for you, in that hoarder's manky old barn. Mr. Stilton looked embarrassed. Well, said Mrs. Stilton, I guess we've got you to thank for getting us together then.
That's nice.
Time for bed, I
Matchmaker.
think, said Mr. Stilton. Make yourself comfy, and we'll see you in the morning.
His shirt gets reversed so it doesn't read properly when he's facing the other direction. Some sort of Illuminati poster. Whoa! This is a fun dream to have. Oh, the old man! He's waving him in, just the way he always did. Oh, I can actually control this. I'm coming for you. I got my, like, cute little Horace pajamas. Yeah, let's fly together. After I was just talking about having watched Tenacious D recently, now this just reminds me of the Papagenu sequence. It's like half Papagenu, half the dream sequence from The Big Lebowski. Getting a little bit of both of those going on. Let's be reunited at last. This might actually be heaven, Horace. The time... Oh, he's gone. The time that you thought heaven was whatever else. Well, I thought I could duck down through the clouds. Then he woke up in the bathroom and he's like, heaven looks like a basement bathroom. Home is where the heart is. Chapter 4, Finding a Way Home.
The next day, I thought it might...
Oh, the achievement there. Okay, I think it would just be for... it's... The achievement title is Do Androids Dream, and then the description is of old men, and I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Philip K. something. He has his short story, sci-fi story, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which was kind of the foundation of Blade Runner, I think. Man, if not, there's some connection there with Philip K. Dick and Blade Runner. But the idea of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, I believe what that title's referring to is this idea that, like, animals had gone extinct, and it was like this very rare thing for humans to own actual real-life animals. And so it's like this lofty dream of people to be so wealthy that you could own an animal because there's so few left in the entire world. So it's like humans are dreaming of animals, but it's also a world where androids exist. So it's a little bit like, do androids similarly dream of owning android animals, electric sheep? So do androids dream of dead old men? Very sad and kind of twisted, but also a cool reference going on there. So sorry for the side rail, but I wanted to point that one out.
A good time to ask about the war. Judging by the look on everyone's faces, it wasn't. Well,
not the time.
The war, said Mr.
How
Stilton.
long ago was it? Is what I want to know.
Interrupted his wife. Can I see you for a minute?
We do know that it's a... I guess we don't know how pregnant she is, but probably fairly. And I doubt they got together immediately. I doubt the war was immediately after everything kind of crumbled apart or whatever. So there's like the time for the war to happen, the time for a relationship to form, and the time for her to be quite pregnant, like third trimester pregnant. We're talking like minimum a year. Absolute minimum is what I'm seeing
Mr.
right
Stilton
now.
out of the room, leaving me with Mr. Preston. All of a sudden,
right
Mr.
back at
Stilton
ya.
appeared. How about a tune-up, he said. Mrs.
Ah,
Stilton
yeah, my
started
favorite.
to make some food, and Mr. Preston was
Beans.
playing with the dog, leaving me to chat with Mr.
That's
Stilton.
how I play with
I
animals.
said that I really wanted to see everyone else, but Mr. Stilton said that it wouldn't be that easy. Traveling now, especially for a robot, is complicated. Go back to the house. You could even do some cleaning. Wait there and I'll work out a way to get you to each of them. I told him that I couldn't get into the main house because
very
the
sweet.
hallway ceiling had collapsed. I have just the thing, said Mr. Stilton, as he pulled some sort of card out of his pocket. If you can get into the caves under the house, you can use this security pass to get into the old man's laboratories. You can get into the main house that way. I was so excited, I would be able to get back into my old room. I said thanks, and made my way to the front door. Also, I think you might be able to help us out, said Mr. Stilton, but we'll meet up back at the old man's house in a couple of days. You head there and we'll see you soon.
Stilton is being, like, very helpful. It's
The door
very
was
sweet.
locked, but from behind it Mr. Stilton shouted, "Go back to the old man's house."
I thought he said something about, like, oh, you could help us clean around the kitchen or whatever if you were so inclined, and so I was kind of thinking I could help out a wee bit before I totally moved on. Do a little bit more of my junk collecting quest. 20,000 junk collected. What a hero. Passports.
I wasn't sure what to do with this machine.
Insert your card,
wasn't
I
sure
guess.
What to do with this machine.
They were talking about
Huge
it
door
being
was sealed
especially...
shut. I wasn't sure how to get inside.
Oh, here's my chance for a big move. They were talking about how it's especially hard for robots to travel these days. I did it! Yes! Yes, I so desperately wanted it to be something crazy like that. Just sailing straight out into space. Ah. That's a really funny little cutscene moment. I assumed something like that would have been an achievement as well. I guess I don't need to have achieved hurling myself into space. Shouldn't really be a goal of mine, you know, but it was very fun. That seemed like a good opportunity to do it, too. Yeah, I completely lost track of what I was doing besides that, but that's fine, because that was all I truly wanted. Ah, nuts. Maybe I was just in the middle of talking about the fact that they said it's hard to travel for robots. There's, like, probably dedicated teams of people who would, like, take an opportunity to kill any robot they've seen. Seems like we're the cause of the war. A little bit. If not entirely the case, that at least played a very seemingly large role in it all. Saint Health Scare. That's a very on-the-nose name for a hospital. See, there's the thing of Mr. Dick. But it's kind of weird. It looks like he has glasses and like a devil goatee or something. There's a little bit more going on to that image. He said this had collapsed in the main hall. Where in the house was there something that seemed like I didn't have access to it? Okay, maybe I'm backtracking to where I had gone just like at the end of that other episode there, where I went into kind of like that underground seeming area. Okay, let's get a little turned around there. And there was like something that needed to be turned. Is that suddenly I'm gonna have the card access to that? This is what I'm picturing. Whether or not this is actually anything. See, it needs like a blue interaction. The way everything else glows yellow still makes me think I need the gloves or something. Ooh, that was daring. Yeah, I got no idea where I'm specifically meant to go. I just wanted to test to see if this character had any idle animations. He does a quick little thing where he fixes his tie, another one where he adjusts his hat, reaches into his like breast pocket there. That seems like about it. They're pretty simple, but they do exist.
As I walked through the old church ruins,
there we
I
go.
Was surprised to
here's where we had to go. We had tried to go here previously.
He had forgotten to give me something, and the church's community hall would be the perfect place to try it out. As soon as we walked
into the gloves?
hall,
oh, did Stilton
Mr.
rob
Stilton
the old
said
man?
He had a present for me. It was a pair of Atlas gloves.
That's kind of horrible.
They made me think of the old blind man with the cat and his stolen Atlas gloves. I wonder if Mr. Stilton knew how lucky he was to still have them with a glove thief around.
No.
Mr. Stilton asked me to try the gloves on and start chucking things around.
There's also, it makes me wonder if that line of dialogue would happen if I hadn't went and helped the old man. I feel like that dialogue tree was set up that it could have just been like, here's the gloves, and it'd be like, try chucking things around. It could have cut out that little aside. But poor Horace can't put two and two together. He doesn't realize that Stilton is kind of like get things done anything to survive type who robbed a blind man. That's really terrible. He seemed like he was being a good guy. He was like very specifically helping us out during this little stretch and everything. But no, he robbed a blind man. Come on, man.
He was very clear about that.
No, put me down.
Mr.
Preston was
Stilton
enjoying that.
suggested we clean the hall. Of course I knew when he said we, he meant me. But I was happy to try out my new gloves. He said I should clear everything off of the basketball court and put the things on the floor either side. I fiddled with the settings for a bit, but when Mr. Stilton saw I was having trouble, he fished the small manual out of the box. He explained that pressing down and X would pick the thing up. X would then throw the thing, and if I wanted to place it on the floor, I should again press down and X. He looked more and more confused as he read all this, but eventually he finished by saying, well, I hope that made more sense to you than it did to me.
Well, you're a fool, Stilton, you big dummy. Oh, now we specifically do have blue objects that you gotta bend down and interact with. 3 points. Oh, it actually worked. That legit did go through the hoop. I'm real good at this. I doubt I'll be able to throw this ladder or whatever it is through there. I guess blue things aren't junk. Whoops. Is Preston suddenly dressed up with like a ball cap and what's going on with him right now? Oh, it's not gonna let me pick him up and throw him. It's funny that there's like a nativity scene that I can pick up and throw as well. I want to go for like a 3-pointer. Oh, nothing but net. That's great work, Horace. Big half-court shot. Nah, couldn't quite do it. Oh god, okay, there's a nativity scene, and there's like a baby Jesus. There's like the Mary and Joseph and like some Francis or gold or myrrh or whatever that is. But there's also a baby Jesus. So just give me one quick second while I give baby Jesus a dunk. It's as close to a dunk as I could get. It's a little bit horrible. A little bit of an awful thing. I don't think I can I actually... It says 0 junk. Oh, what if I chuck this stuff into the, like, electrical circuits? Is that how I actually break it? I'm bad at that. I can't willingly seem to break this stuff. Oh, there's a delay in the throw. Throw a bigger thing so it's harder to miss. It's like directly on the electrical stuff. I don't think I can break it. But it's also currently actively not letting me go through the door. Mr. Stilton suggested I made my way back into the old man's I've done that. These are things that I've done. He might have said something like clear the stuff off the basketball court. It might have been something as simple as that.
Let's see what else these gloves can do.
There, yeah, I just had to
Mr.
clean
Stilton
that
as he
off.
flicked through the manual. He actually looked quite excited when he explained that holding X while walking into or under a falling thing would allow me to catch it. I must admit, I was then really happy when he suggested we make it a game, and I try to catch 10 basketballs.
He may be a thief and a bit of a jerk, but this seems like a fun little game. Dang, does that not count? Seems like it doesn't count. I should try and follow it up by sinking shots. Ah, oh, okay. I forgot how to shoot for a second there. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. Whoop. I'm accidentally picking up other ones off the ground and everything, so I keep botching it a little bit like that. It's taking a lot more than 10 basketballs to get through this. And also now and again, I just totally whiff on it like that. Totally miss. Make it easier. Quit throwing such difficult shots to catch. Whoop. Ah, my free throws are getting a little bit more consistent
Mr.
though.
Stilton suggested we make it a real game.
That wasn't
and
a
see
real
how quickly
game?
I could score 10 baskets.
Oh, I'm way ahead of you. He's already practicing.
It felt just like the good old days.
The good old days.
Except
Oh,
Mr. Stilton wasn't as forgiving as the old man.
He's a jerk, isn't he? Still a bit of a dickwad, that one is. I kind of like that the game established a like cast of unique characters, and it did a little bit to introduce us to them all and their different mannerisms and everything. We kind of got to know everyone before we're in we got to know the most minimal possible amount about each of them before the game started progressing and being like, well, let's interact with each one like one at a time.
Gave me what he called a high five.
Only got 4 fingers there, dude.
He said I now
So
know
hesitant.
everything about the gloves, and I should be able to continue.
Would you try to high five with his new hyper-powered robot gloves if I just like super smashed straight through his hand and broke his wrist or something? Not gonna thieve anymore after that, are ya?
You through the basement of the church into the house. When I asked him if he was coming with me, he just laughed and said they would catch up with me in the main hall.